Okay, so the system's pretty basic system. Compromised 4 amplifiers. We've got 2 mixers, and these are fail detectors in case the amplifiers go off. This is the paging system. Is this unit up here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different zones. The first one would be zone A is a foothill. Then zone B is Greyhound. The next zone is a retail building. Zone number 4 would be the ground level, and then zone number 7 is the concourse level. So they're broken up in those levels. The way this works, if they're one of these amplifiers, if these amplifiers turn off, this will beep and it'll detect whether if it's the main amplifier or a standby amplifier. There's a piezo here which will beep, and it'll beep until you push this silent button. So it's making you aware that there's something's failing. So right now the main amplifier came in. This one controls these 2 amplifiers. These 2 amplifiers is controlled by the top one. So they'll all come in right now. They're just still holding a little bit of charge, a little bit of charger still holding, and they all come in. You can just silence it. You'll see these lights will light up in a few minutes. So I'll turn these back on. So once they'll detect power again, everything's hooked up to it. It'll come back on and stay on normal. These are the volume control. This is the volume control for the concourse level. The concourse level is the only level that's separated from the rest because of wattage issues and stuff. So we had to separate that one from the rest. So this is the volume control for that level. Here you got this override plug in here is for the microphone. Microphone is located over in the transit building, the big desk is at the foothill side. So that is connected to the back. There's a box where the switch from the microphone and the audio from the microphone unite, and they come in here on the override. So when the microphone, you push the contact closure on the microphone, it'll open up the ports and send out a page through the whole place.
So that's like an all-call?
Yeah, like an all-call from the mic. Yeah. And then this one here is the connection for the telephone line, the actual phone number that you dial. It's a 9-digit number you dial and you call in. It'll ring once, it picks up, and then you could dial the different group zones. I have like you would dial 01 would be the foothill. It'll only hit the foothill side over there. 02 would hit Greyhound. 03 would hit the retail, this building here. 04 would hit the ground level. 07 would hit the concourse, and then what we did is we united. We did some groups. So like a star 01 is going to be the ground and concourse only. So if you wanted to make a page to that section only, it would hit that area. It wouldn't affect any of this up here. Then star 02 is going to be the foothill, Greyhound, and retail, that building over there. So if you do a page to want to page just the buildings up here and nothing down there, you can have that capability too. And the last group is just foothill and Greyhound, just separated from the retail, because retail already has its own zone also. So those are the groups that we got. So we'll print this out, and we'll put one in here, and then you guys will get a copy of all that stuff.
When you say the 9-digit phone number, is it one that's being supplied by Metro, or is it a separate line that you guys have up here?
No, it's being supplied by Metro.
Okay, yeah. So because basically ours, there's like a 4-digit, so it's just internal, but
yeah,
it's the same interpretation.
Yeah, and then it could change right now. That's what we got provided, and it kind of if somebody outside dials in, they have the capability of doing the all call by just pushing the.
Okay, but they'll eliminate that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it'll turn into just an extension line, which is better. And we could take a look around the back if you guys want to see where the connections are. So this is real nice too. This whole thing just unclips, and you can take off the whole side of the rack. On this side, you have your microphone input. The microphone comes here first. You have the option you could control the volume from the microphone to the system. Then you have your audio comes into here. You have your switch also comes into here from the microphone, and from here is that blue cable that goes over to the override. So all these, this point has to be connected and that point connected. to make everything work. These are all the connections from the field, from the ground level. There, everything's labeled. For example, this one says to IDF E1, which is the IDF E side. Cable number 1 is a ground feed, and then cable number 2 is a concourse feed. So you have 2 cables going to the ground level, east side and west side. We have multiple. There's 5 cables, but 2 of them they go there, and then they got cross connected for all of the upstairs and all of the downstairs. We also have your microphones that come in, the ambient microphones from out there. They come in here, and they get cross connected. They get cross connected over to the mixers. Those mixers are used for that ambient microphone. What that is out in the bus area. Once the buses are around, the volume gets increased down there. It'll increase the volume of the pages to compensate for the volume, extra volume down there. This guy here is a message unit. This is capable, has a flash drive. It's capable of handling up to like 100 messages, and then you could set those in a certain order. You label them 01, 02, 03, and that's the priority level that they'll play at. And there's certain dip switches that you could adjust on here, so you could determine if you want to play them every 10 minutes, every half an hour, every 5 minutes. It'll play multiple messages, and that's connected also to the PA system, so it'll play. Multiple messaging unit.
The white zone is for.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You have emergency also, like earthquake or.
So the failure detectors up there, it'll also, in case something like this would happen, it'll detect that there's a failure on it. It'll start beeping and stuff. So that's also it'll detect when these are disconnected or when these are disconnected. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty basic. The only other thing is a microphone that's over at the transit. It has 2 buttons on it. One of them is you push and locks it, so you could talk without having to hold the button down. And the other one, you push and talk. And we can go try that out and see.
All speakers are passive out here?
Yeah.
On these amps, you have one marked as main and the other as standby.
Yeah.
Is that working like a backup? Or,
yes.
Or we need both of them to work?
No, it's working as a backup. So this main one is the one right now working, pushing out the 4 zones, which is a Foothill, Greyhound, retail, and the ground level. And this one right here is pushing out for the concourse. So if this turns off or goes bad or blows up or something disconnected, the second one will take effect immediately. They will, it might be a interruption if there's a message going on, but it'll take effect. It'll back up, and then this will back up the second level.
Well, how can one amp do 3 different zones? How does it isolate the zones?
Through the system up on top. So the wattages are being pushed into the system, and then the system separates. It sends a message to that zone, or that zone, or that zone, or all the zones.
So the load on the amp changes depending on the zones.
Yeah.
So if you have one zone, the load will be lighter than if you select all 3 loads.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that are the zones addressed?
Yeah, the zones are addressed.
The zones are addressed. It's the zones, not the speakers addressed, correct?
Yes, the zones are addressed.
So if you change the speaker out, it's not going to care.
No.
So the module there takes the incoming audio, sends it down to the amp, and then back from the amp back up to the system again? Is it select which? Yeah,
that's what it's doing. It's sending the audio input down to here, and then sending the audio up to there, and then it's selecting it where it's gonna send it to.
So it's at the beginning and the end of the it's at the input of this system is at the input of the amp and also at the output of the amp.
Yeah.
So if you have a shorted speaker out there, it's going to bring down the whole.
Well, you just isolate that zone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to start eliminating zones and figure out where it's at.
Okay. So now, where did the mixers end up in the chain?
The mixers are for the first level, for the concourse level, which was the one that had to be separated.
Yeah.
And the mixers are also for the ambient mics. So the ambient mics are going to come into the mixer, and then the mixer is going to be able to compensate for that noise, the extra noise down there. It'll push out a little bit more volume.
Okay, so right now the only 2 inputs that we have is this mic and the telephone extension.
Yeah.
That goes directly into the system.
Yeah.
And then we go from this. Then from there we're outputting to what do we go to next? The mixer or the amp? The mixer, huh?
The mixer.
and then from there we go to the amp.
Yeah, and then from there it goes to the detector, the fail detector, and then from there it goes down to the amps.
And then from the amp back to the fail detector, back
up to the system. So you know, and if
start doing that everywhere.
yeah, right. I know. Yeah, if one of these they fail, the other one will take in place. So it won't. One of them's not controlling a certain zone. It'll, you know, if one of them fails, the other one input will take place, and then you know the amplifiers will function correctly. So
They're Muxin amplifiers.
yeah.
What wattage are we talking about there?
Those are 250 watts each one, and the speakers out there are set at 5 watts each. The pillars, and then also the ceiling speakers, and those blowhorns that are out there.
And the spaces here, what do we got?
5. The inside spaces, I believe they're a little bit lower. They're maybe at like 2.5 or 3, somewhere around there.
Okay. Do we have that on the print somewhere? Or?
The wattages?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
If you want, we could go ahead.
We could.
When we fill out a little paper for this, we'll put the wattages of the levels of the speakers.
It would be nice. And then,
Yeah.
so this is a 70-volt line feeding all.
Yes,
Yeah.
70.
It's all 70.
Yeah. For the distances and stuff. So if you guys want to check out the microphone over at that other end, we could see how you can see how it sounds.
For the ambient noise affecting the space.
What was that?
There's a sensor downstairs that said that it makes sure the ambient is
Yeah.
depending on the ambient, it raises the volume or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that connected to here too?
Yeah, they're the ones that are connected up on top right now. They're not. It's kind of hard to set them because there's no noise down there.
Right.
So it kind of has to be set when it's when you have like a full functioning, you know, kind of deal. But yeah, they're connected here to the mixer, and the mixer's the one that will compensate for that sound.
Well, you have how many mics?
There's a east side and west side, and I think each of those have about 3 microphones each.
So I
there's
see 3 mics coming here, but this mixer only has 1 connection.
No, there's this connection, and this connection is the east side. This connection is for the west side. So they're daisy chain.
Oh.
They're daisy chain. The
So they're all
microphone.
working together.
Yeah, they're all working together to do the east side or the west side.
Okay.
All of the IDFs basically have a 66 block, or what we're using to make our interconnections. Like for example, here there's the feeds for the Foothill, the Greyhound, and the Transit, and they're just jumpered on top of each other for certain areas, and then we have the feed coming in, and that gets jumpered in. Also, there's a microphone right here that's jumpered in for that microphone that comes on that side. The switch wire goes straight through all the way home. So the microphone is the one that gets jumpered here. So for that microphone, back home, switch goes as a home run, and then the microphone is here, and then it's jumpered going back that way. But they're all basically the same. We're going to put up a little legend on the side right here that says what the wires are for, and that's it. They're all grounded out. They all have a service loop in the wiring. Basically, basic little wiring termination.
You would just terminate it on the
Yeah.
wherever you're at.
Yeah, right on top of each other. These you could actually have enough slack to move it around if you needed to. You know, from here, got a little bit of room.
Well, here I see you have a feed for this is feeding the Foothill.
Yeah.
Which is 3 speakers.
Yeah.
And then the Greyhound feed is underneath the. What does it say here?
No, this is just the Greyhound speakers. Just the feed. There's one feed going out, and I think there's like 3 speakers on the Greyhound side. Those are daisy chains, so there's just one feed for that, and then this is just the microphone feed here.
Well, yeah, this is going to speaker, and this is the feed from the amp, right?
No, this is the feed from the amp. The bottom one's the speaker feed, the field feed, and then this is the amp feed.
Okay.
Bottom one's.
So this one you actually label it separately,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's labeled separately. We bought it in on the different side over here. This one here. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this button is the push to talk, and then push to lock button.
Sir, throw away the trash.
So yeah, so this is an all-call microphone. It'll send a page everywhere. Pretty simple. It's just hooked up to the wires down below. There's a box and that goes down to the IDF, and from there it gets cross-connected over to that area. Yeah, there's an IDF right here.
Okay, so we can't change that because it's plugged into the off-call. Huh?
I think there might be a way to make select it for certain zones. Right now it is hooked up to the all-call. It's plugged into the override portion of that system. I think there is a way to disable the all-call feature, and I'm not sure if you could select like a certain zones to call. Yeah, but there's no selection here to be able to call. That would have to be done through the phone.
Because it doesn't make sense that they would be talking here and talking to the bus signal. I mean, they can't see the bus phone. All they could see is just what's happening here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they could pretty much just make general announcements from here, like.
And if it did need to move, if this did need to move to.
Well, I know that. I mean, I'm just saying that even.